Good evening, and welcome to the Hold Space Theater Collective's first ever live reading of The Soul Scouts by Carter Glace. We would like to extend our gratitude to Gillian Jeffords for designing the official Soul Scouts logo. Thank you, and enjoy the performance.
Our story opens on the woods. Trees and rocks, flowers and tall grass all around us. We are in the mountainous forests of Appalachia. The sunrise pierces through the leaves and branches, giving everything an orange hue. We focus on a branch as a chilling breeze catches its leaves, breaking them off and sending them into the air. They guide us through the woods. We find the wildlife who make this place their home, as deer prance by, rabbits burrow, and birds glide past our view. We push through the thickest spot of trees, and as the leaves fly into the sky, we come to a massive cliff overlooking the sprawling wilderness. The true scope of this wild is revealed, as the stunning countryside is a sea of green leaves and winding rivers. But as we look closely, right in the center of it all is a modest campground, carved out in a little clearing. The grounds seem to be a classic rustic summer camp, a circle of wood cabins, a flagpole with speakers, and a big campfire right in the heart of everything. The flag at the top of the pole features Pac-Man ghosts, blue, purple, and green, all overlapping each other. Each cabin has a different number carved into the side. We focus in on one specific cabin, number 8. As we enter the cabin, the 2 rows of bunk beds line the edges of the room, each with their own name tag and drawer. We see the flagpole/speaker through a screened window as we stop in front of a bunk labeled Harper. The silence is shattered as the speaker plays, and trumpeting fills the air. The sound causes Harper to tumble out of bed.
Ow!
She pops up after the hard fall and scrambles to grab a uniform, water bottle, and assorted gear.
Let's go, let's go! No one wants to be late.
Harper joins a wave of girls as they all exit their cabins and head toward a large building in the distance. As she adjusts one of her shoes, she trips over a rock and face plants into the dirt. Several girls chuckle, but Harper plays it off like she meant to do that. Everyone continues on to the mess hall. Sliding a tray across a metal counter, Harper is given sunny side up eggs from a grizzled woman with tattoos on her arms and scars on the side of her face. This is Vern, short for Vernadette. She's actually pretty nice.
Thank you, Vern. I'm loving the new tattoo, by the way.
You haven't seen the best spot.
Vern flexes, causing the cactus to do a little dance. Both of them burst into laughter.
Harper.
Harper rushes over to a table with 3 girls, Iris, Danny, and Rosie.
Your shirt's backwards.
What? No, it.
She looks down to see her shirt is fine as Danny reaches across the table and flicks Harper's face.
Ha ha, very funny. Iris, what are you reading now?
If I'm translating this correctly, I can channel my energy into the atoms of this table and I can alter it. I'm gonna make it blue.
Iris, that better not be any of that occult malarkey.
It's just a textbook.
Today is going to be an awesome day.
Feels like another day at camp to me.
Yeah, but it's a new day at camp. The best kind of day.
Meanwhile, an older camper enters the mess hall and seems bewildered by the environment. This is Aubrey.
Do you have egg whites?
Vern looks baffled and just slides over a plate of sunny side eggs across the counter. Aubrey takes them and looks for an empty table.
Hey, there's a seat here.
Aubrey desperately looks around for anywhere else, but everyone seems to have settled into their cliques. Harper continues to wave. She relents, joining our group.
Hi, I don't think I've seen you before.
My parents thought this camp would be a good idea. They signed me up late.
It's a spectacular idea. Camp Soul Scouts is the best place in the world. I'm Harper. This is my 4th year. What's your name?
Aubrey.
Well, Aubrey, you are going to love it here. That's Danny. They have their own band. That's Rosie. She's a bit shy, but has a great deadpan humor once you get to know her. And this is Iris.
As Harper points to Iris, Iris's hand begins to glow purple, which spreads out to the entire table. In seconds, poof! The entire table has transformed into mice, all bunched together in the shape of a table.
Not again, Iris!
The mice break rank and begin running away. The entire mess hall is engulfed in chaos.
She does magic?
I'm sorry, I can turn it back, I swear.
The various campers are now gathering around a huge wooden stage, sitting in rows of benches. We see our group sit down in the back as the final stragglers reach their seats. The various cliques are all chatting among themselves, gossiping and excitedly discussing the upcoming day's activities. Suddenly, a massive woman makes her way to the stage, causing a wave of silence. The scouts stand in salute of this woman, head Counselor Beatrix. She takes a huge breath and slams her walking stick for effect.
Good morning, Soul Scouts!
Good morning, Head Counselor.
Everyone wide awake to find some ghosts?
Woo!
We get down to brass tacks. Let's all say the Soul Scout.
I swear to keep my heart open and always be prepared.
To always lend a hand to souls ensnared.
To help those in need, no matter the deed.
We Soul Scouts are wise, empathetic, and kind. We will help
all spirits. Leave no soul
behind.
So we have a few late campers joining us this week.
We see Aubrey in the back.
Oh no.
So if this is your first week, please stand up so we can give you all a proper Soul Scouts welcome.
A handful of scouts stand up to rousing cheers. Aubrey sits quietly, only to be elbowed excitedly by Harper. Aubrey ultimately half stands up, lifting off the bench maybe 2 inches before going quickly back down.
And you all couldn't have come at a better time because we're just about to start our weekly ghost search.
We cut back to Harper and Aubrey as Harper excitedly leans over to Aubrey.
You are going to love it. We go out into the woods in troops and look for ghosts to help, and then
You are literally in my ear right now.
Soul Scouts' main job is to help those paranormal scouts still here on Earth find peace and move on to the afterlife any way we can. Because what is our motto?
Every soul
deserves
deserves a scout.
Be
Be a friend and help them
help
out.
them out.
Beatrix steps aside for Counselor Brenda, who takes the mic.
All right, everyone, here are your assignments for the day. Let's start out with the new campers.
Beatrix rushes in front of the mic again, nearly hip-checking Brenda into orbit.
And remember, this is a great chance to earn your first spirit badge, which is required for you to participate at the end of summer ceremony.
She leaves as a frazzled Brenda retakes the mic.
All right, so here are your groups for the day.
Beatrix nearly knocks Brenda over again.
One more thing. Let's get spooky.
All right. Harper, Iris, Danny, Rosie, and Aubrey will be heading to the lake.
the lake? Ugh.
What's wrong with the lake?
Nothing. It's fine. It's a lake. It's scenic. There's never any ghosts around the lake.
That's fine by me.
As they talk, the various troops are called and disperse.
I'm tired of going out and not seeing ghosts. We're in a camp for ghosts.
Well, we don't have to go to the lake.
What do you mean? They told us we're going to the lake.
Well, they said we're going there, but do they ever actually check? If you really want to see ghosts, you could always go to Mount Penn.
Danny points their drumsticks to a crooked mountain in the distance.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. No, 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 no. No one is allowed to go up there. Not since Mary fell and chipped 4 teeth.
Oof, yeah, that was rough.
All right, we can follow the rules, but if there are ghosts afoot, there's probably one there.
No. But you know what? I'm going to that mountain.
That's the spirit.
I'll come. I don't want you guys to get yourselves hurt.
All right, there we go. Are you in? Of course you are, Red.
All right. Good luck with that.
Aren't you coming?
Nope. I'm gonna go sit by a lake and throw a rock or something. I don't know. Nature stuff.
The gang begins to walk away.
Hold on.
They all freeze, realizing they are the last group to leave, and Brenda is now walking off the stage toward them.
Do you mind if I walk with you all to the lake? I need a nice walk.
That sounds great.
Danny steps forward without missing a beat.
Counselor Brenda. Can I call you Brenda? You've been having a day, haven't you? When have you done something for you? Like, really for you? You don't want to go to the lake? There are mosquitoes there. Does West Nile virus sound relaxing to you?
That sounds bad.
You know, Iris here mic'd an entire table today. Well, that was halfway through breakfast. No one got dessert. Meaning there's a whole lot of ice cream still there.
Really?
Have you ever poured coffee over a bowl of ice cream?
That's a thing?
Now that's some self-care right there.
Brenda pauses for a moment.
Yeah. That does sound good.
Instead of heading toward the lake, Brenda begins walking over to the mess hall. Aubrey is agog.
What? You can't actually.
Danny pats her on the back before rejoining the others toward the mountain.
Just be careful if you run into a bear by yourself near the lake.
The group leaves. Aubrey is weighing whether or not they are serious, ultimately rushing to join the group. The group stands before the forest line, preparing their trek toward the mountain. The vastness and growing density make it look haunting and daunting as the sounds of wilderness fill the air. Harper takes the first steps as the lead. Danny walks behind her, air drumming. Iris, Aubrey, and Rosie all hang in the back with various degrees of concern. We get a brief montage of the scouts exploring, searching, and climbing their way through the wilderness. They weave through a thick patch of trees and tall grass. Harper references a nature trail guidebook to help pinpoint their direction. She weaves around a massive tree, deftly ducking to avoid a low branch without looking up. The rest of the gang dodges as well, save for Aubrey. Aubrey was so busy looking down, trying to maneuver through the foliage, she didn't see a huge branch and ends up colliding with it. The team maneuvers around the waterfall, traversing from rock to avoid the water. Harper, Danny, and Rosie leap between the rocks with ease as Iris uses her magic to hover the terrain. Aubrey manages to trip and smash into every single rock, getting soaked. Taking a quick break for lunch, Iris takes out her spellbook in a little tree clearing. Tapping it 3 times, a golden hue begins radiating from the book. As the picnic basket and blanket appear. Digging through the basket, Iris hands a trail bar to Harper, jerky to Danny, some crackers for Rosie, and an apple for herself. She turns to Aubrey, who is trying to clean up her scrapes and wringing out her socks from her misadventures on the rocks. Iris digs into her basket and realizes there is no more food inside. She gives an awkward shrug as Aubrey pouts. They continue to weave through a particularly dense area of foliage as bugs and critters are on full display. Bees and butterflies flutter through the air, squirrels scurry around the trees, and in the distance, the gang sees 2 deer hiding behind trees. Everyone, even Aubrey, is in awe at the majesty. One of the deer clops over to Rosie, head tilted for scratches. Rosie obliges, and Danny begins to dig out their phone to get a picture. The other deer prances toward them at high speed. In shock, Aubrey tumbles backward, rolling downhill into a bush. As she crawls her way out, she sees the rest of the scouts and the deer looking down at her. All the time, the forest itself feels alive, branches swaying, moving, and rearranging, leaves coming to life, twirling and dancing around them, the sounds of bugs and critters joined in a chorus of noise. They continue on the trail, as Harper points them to a series of trees with blue marks painted on them.
Shouldn't be much further, gang.
Iris looks back and notices Aubrey's intense level of stress.
So tell us about yourself, Aubrey.
Aubrey just huffs as a branch collides with her face.
Okay, so a little about myself. I'm a witch, as you could probably tell by that time I turned a table into a bunch of tiny mice. My mom is, well, I don't know if you're familiar with the name Rosethorn.
At this point, Aubrey is furiously swatting at a fly that has gotten right into her face. Harper continues to lead until she glances at a particular tree and does a double take.
Wait!
Everyone jumps as Harper rushes to the tree. She digs through her bag and pulls out a Scout's Guide to Souls and Ghouls book with hundreds of colorful sticky notes. She flips through until she finds the page she's looking for with a green sticky note.
Guys, look!
It is a tree.
No, you might think that, but look at these leaves.
Upon further inspection, you can notice that the leaves have a really light frost on them, something really easy to miss.
Dramatic, contained, climate change! That's potential evidence of a spectral presence. We're on the right track.
She rushes ahead, disappearing among the trees.
Wait up!
Iris follows after as Rosie, Danny, and Aubrey continue their slow trek from behind.
So, she really believes in all this stuff?
Oh yeah. I've never seen someone put so much into the Soul Scouts. I barely remember the titles of most of these books, and she's memorized how many sentences in all of them? Watch this. Hey Harper! Who proposed the theory that spirits are a product of quantum entanglements?
Allison Lattess, her argument was that ghosts are here because they are caught in a parallel.
Oh, down!
Harper and Iris's footsteps become quieter and quieter.
I mean, I think this stuff is rad too. Hanging out in a spooky forest, looking for the undead, and chilling by campfires. That's a good summer for me. But Harper is ride or die.
It's just, don't you think it's weird?
What's weird about it?
Oh, crap. I forgot you could talk.
I like absorbing the atmosphere.
Danny tussles her hair as they pick up the pace, trying to catch up to their peers. They make it into a clearing, and as the gang stands before the towering Mount Penn, it is a massive, awe-inspiring gray landmark dotted with trees and bushes. The peak is almost indiscernible from the base. Along the lower edges of the mountain is a craggy cave burrowing into the ground.
Okay. No ghosts here. Let's go home.
Hold on. That cave is a perfect place to look. There's bound to be something.
Harper begins to walk toward the cave, digging out a flashlight from her supplies. As she lights the darkness of the cave, she is met by a pair of black eyes. Stepping into the light is a massive black bear. Harper walks back slowly, trying to make herself as big as possible as the bulky beast takes some tentative steps forward. The others notice the bear.
Oh, I shouldn't have said bear earlier.
Everyone, just keep calm. Don't move too far.
Aubrey runs full speed away from the cave, prompting the bear to blow past Harper and rush toward Aubrey. Harper goes flying from the force of the bear.
Hold on.
Iris reaches her hand out, aims toward the bear, and fumbles to a page in her book.
Fire!
A few red sparks begin shooting out of her hand, but ultimately they disappear within a few seconds. Whatever spell she was trying to cast has failed, leaving nothing but smoke and a whistling sound. Aubrey trips on a rock as the bear begins to close in on her. She recoils as her only means of defense. But out of nowhere, Rosie steps between Aubrey and the bear. The bear doesn't seem to care, though, as it continues to rush forward. Rosie blinks, and for just a second, her eyes glow orange. It is a brief enough to almost cast doubt that it happened. The bear's face is engulfed in the light, and something about this causes it to panic and run into the forest, leaving the team alone. It disappeared, its terrified growls echoing. Everyone looks at Rosie in complete shock. It would seem as though no one saw her eyes change.
Rosie, how did you scare that bear away?
Oh, I just made myself look really big.
Like I taught you? Oh my God, guys, my little girl's all grown up and learning wilderness safety.
I'm sorry, guys. That was supposed to be an intimidating fire.
Okay, that's enough exploring. Let's go back.
But we just got here.
You're going to get us killed, and I'm not waiting around to see it happen.
She begins to walk away, heading into the woods.
Hold on, Aubrey. Technically, it is probably safer to be in the cave, given the bear is now somewhere in the woods.
Aubrey pauses for a second, then storms into the cave.
I know you wanted to go to acting camp this summer, Aubrey. Ghost studies will be so much more impressive for your resume.
The rest of the gang joins her in the cave. The cave is nearly pitch black, the walls bouncing only the faintest light from the outside. The sound of endlessly dripping water and the occasional mouse can be heard in the distant dark.
Hold on, I can fix this.
She attempts to create a light in her hand, nearly blinding everyone in the room.
Oh, come on!
Sorry.
Iris manages to contain the light as they begin to walk through the narrow halls of the cave. Harper also pulls out a flashlight. Danny looks at the white light radiating from Iris's hand.
Make it blue.
Oh,
Iris clenches her fist, and it turns luminescent blue.
How about lavender?
Iris's hand now sparkles a light purple.
Okay. Walk with me on this one. You know how with photo negatives...
Okay. So what are we supposed to be looking for? What do these ghosts look like?
Well, to keep it simple, they usually look just like us, except usually floating. Sometimes they're white or blue or green. Some people argue that purple ones exist, but there's very little evidence of such a thing existing. They're usually around something that belonged to them or an area of importance, or they'll be trying to figure out how to get something done. Our job is to figure out what emotional drive is tethering them to the physical world and help them move on.
So you all realize we are walking past a skeleton right now, right?
They all stop and realize there is a skeleton with a climbing backpack in the middle of a pool of water. The water closest to the skeleton is almost frozen, crystallized with ice. They all hesitate until Harper walks forward to investigate the bones. The whole gang moves up, carefully leaning in. Just as they all get as close as they can get, a spectral blue face jumps out of the bones!
Ah! I'm sorry. I've been waiting to do that for forever. How are y'all? I'm Stacy.
Oh my God. A fully animated specter. Hi. My name is Harper. That's Iris, that's Rosie, that's Danny, and that's Aubrey.
It's so nice to meet you. I was worried I was never going to find anyone down here.
Remarkable. Fully defined figure. Illumination at least 3 watts. Noticeable temperature change gradient. Do you naturally float off the ground, or are you actively doing that?
It's kind of natural.
Harper gets up in Stacy's face.
I have so many questions.
Oh,
Iris steps between them.
How did you end up here?
Oh, well, you see, I'm a bit of a mountain climber, and I really wanted to climb the side of Mount Penn, so things were going great, but I guess I missed a rock somewhere and did a little tumble and ended up on the ground. And then some darn bear grabbed my pack and dragged it into the cave to steal all my snacks.
Oh.
I've been trying to get back up for a while, but I'm kind of stuck with my stuff. I couldn't get much further than the edges of the cave.
She tries to fly past the scouts, only to get whipped back to her backpack with incredible force.
Oh my God, spiritual attachment to objects of value.
I can't explain why, but I just really feel like I need to finish that climb. It'd be real nice to see the sunset.
We could help you.
What?
We'll carry your backpack up the mountain.
Really?
Really?
Of course.
Harper, I know that you want to help, but look at that. We're talking about climbing Mount Penn. We're not going to be able to do that.
Iris, we're soul scouts. We help the souls who need it.
None of it means turning yourself into a ghost.
Iris, let's be honest. This might be my first chance to really help a spirit.
I'm sorry, could you speak up? Did you say this is your first time helping a ghost?
The rest of the team looks really sheepish as Harper struggles to answer.
Yeah?
You've been here how long?
Hey. Dude, it's a lot harder than it seems.
Then we shouldn't be doing it. Why are we following a ghost hunter who's never caught a ghost?
Okay, you and I will head up there. The rest of the team should hang down here in case something happens.
Harper pauses for a moment and hugs Iris.
All right, let's do this. And we don't catch ghosts, Aubrey.
Harper grabs the backpack and signals the ghost to follow. Now outside again, the scouts face down the sheer scope of the mountain. Iris and Harper arm themselves with climbing hooks and rope from Stacy's bag. The rest of the gang watches on.
Are you sure we can do this?
Of course. It's just like hiking. At a bit of an incline.
Harper hands her own backpack over to Danny as she puts on Stacy's.
You got this, kid. And if you don't, I'm taking your bunk.
Rosie walks over to Harper and Iris.
I know it's scary, but you are the most fearless person I know. You and Iris are going to get to the top of that mountain and help this ghost move on, because kindness always overcomes fear.
Thank you, Rosie. Do you want to climb with us?
No, I don't like heights. Also, my mom would be mad.
The two begin the climb, making their trek up the rugged rock face. As they leave our view, Danny leans against a tree and Rosie sits cross-legged on a rock.
So, we're just not going to stop them?
I believe in my friends. Couldn't stop them if I even wanted to.
They dig out some gum and pop it in their mouth. Rosie reaches out and Danny tosses her some.
I feel like I'm going crazy.
The beginning of the climb is simple, as the initial base of the mountain is a relatively low incline. It is honestly more of a hike than a climb as they march up the rocky paths. As Harper walks, Stacy is pulled forward, her body hovering around the backpack.
So, do you guys just look for ghosts all day?
We're the Soul Scouts. We study and help spirits in need.
I was going to say, you know an awful lot about ghosts for someone who's never met one.
Well, you know, I guess studying them is a lot easier than applying that knowledge.
Let's keep moving.
Soon, they reach a sharp vertical incline, impossible to walk up. We can finally see the peak of the mountain, jagged against the summer sky.
I assume you guys want to go free climbing? I'm just kidding around. Let me see if I can help y'all.
She digs into her bag, trying to lift out a hook. The effort seems to take a great deal out of her, but she lifts it up. Flying into the air, Stacy hooks it onto the rock above them.
All right, so climbing is actually pretty easy. You're going to want to hook the rope to your belt first, then the rest is finding the right spot to put your hands.
Iris and Harper clip the rope of their belts and start working their way very, very slowly up the side of the rock. Stacy appears pensive.
Not to armchair climb, but you really ought to do this.
She floats her body towards the rocks and simulates proper climbing form. It does help speed up the process.
I should say, I do have a lot of badges, though. Knot tying badge, the tracking badge, the kayaking badge.
10 minutes later.
The archery badge, the coding for beginners badge, the junior detective badge.
15 minutes later.
The laser pointer safety badge. Ooh, the nautical nonsense badge.
They get to the top of this little climb as Harper finishes listing various badges off. Harper and Iris look up to see they still have forever to go, and both let out a long sigh.
Oh, I think I see where I fell.
We return to the action just as they approach the top of the mountain. Harper and Stacy continue to slowly rope their way up the mountain, the hook locked in place at the peak of Mount Penn. Stacy is hovering from rock to rock, pointing out where her new friends should grab. They are only a few dozen feet from the peak. Iris is the first to make it to the top, pulling herself up and over, taking some deep breaths and unclipping her belt. As she gets up and looks around the landscape, we notice that the hook is slipping a bit.
We're so close.
Oh man, we're gonna make it.
As Harper reaches for a rock, it breaks off, causing her to fall. She dangles and sways from the rope as the hook continues to teeter from its spot.
Well, that's why you ought to always use the hook. I learned that the hard.
The hook comes loose. Harper begins to fall.
Shoot!
She barely manages to grab onto a rock and dangle for dear life.
Harper!
Iris leans over the edge, reaching out with her hand. Harper is well out of reach for Iris's grasp. Iris steps back and begins scrambling through her book to find a solution as Harper desperately grasps to the side of the cliff. Stacy attempts to pull them up to no avail, unable to lift Harper and the backpack up.
Oh no, I don't want to fall again. I don't want to fall again.
Hold on. I can't really do anything else right now, guys.
Iris reaches out her hand and tries to create a spell. She quietly hums an incantation, but can only create colorful swirls.
I'm losing my grip.
We see that Harper's hand is barely holding on to the rock. She's down to a few fingers. Iris looks down at her friend, seemingly doomed.
Iris?
Iris takes a deep breath and tries to cast one more time. As she does, a glowing blue celestial hand flies down toward Harper and wraps around her. Harper lets go just as the hand tightens around her and begins to pull her and Stacy up. They both land safely on the mountainside.
Take a minute.
I'm sorry. I thought I could do this.
Harp.
I finally get a chance to help someone, and I nearly kill my friends and die falling off a cliff.
Harp.
I'm not cut out for this.
You are, though.
Iris helps Harper up and points forward. This is the first time we get to see the top of the mountain. The view of the forest is absolutely stunning, a romanticism-esque picture of the entire forest. They sit down just as the sun begins to hit the horizon.
Wow.
Stacy looks at Harper and Iris with tears in her eyes.
Are you okay?
I don't know. I think I just realized that this is going to be the last sunset I ever get to see.
Is that good or bad?
Well, I guess it's just a lot to take in. Maybe I'm just relieved I'm getting to see it once more.
We can take as much time as you need.
They sit and stare at the sun for a long time, no one saying a word. A light breeze begins to pick up, sending leaves and dandelions twirling down the mountain. As the sun continues to set, the sea of leaves and rocks and rivers turn from gold to orange to finally amber as the sun gives its final rays of light.
You know, I started climbing after losing someone really important to me. I figured I should try to make the most out of my time. I guess that's ironic.
I'm sorry, Stacy.
No, there's no reason to cry about it. I've lost people in my life to climbing too. Just one day you get a call that they fell. We all just wanted to feel alive, and this feels like living. That's silly.
Well, I don't think it's silly.
They lean against each other, Harper leaning slightly into Stacy. The silence continues.
I think it's time for me to get going. Thank you so much.
Stacy lays down, staring at the sky, and lets out a long, content sigh. Slowly, her corporeal form begins turning to glitters of light, which are carried into the sky until there is nothing left. The sparkles glow among the slowly appearing stars, illuminating the twilight sky. And then they are gone. Our two scouts continue to watch the sunset.
Harper, you did it. You helped a soul.
Thanks, Iris. But I didn't do it. Honestly, I did just as much harm as good. Danny had to suggest us coming here, Rosie scared away the bear, and you just saved me from dying in a really, really bad way.
Well, yeah, but isn't that what being a Soul Scout is about? Helping people, being there for people? None of us would have done any of those things if it weren't for you.
What do you mean?
We all came out to the woods and went through all this because you care so much, and that makes us care. You're a great Soul Scout because for you, it's more than just badges and hiking and textbooks. It's about caring about people.
Wow. Thanks, Iris.
You know, for someone as good a scout as you forgot the most important thing a scout can know. Every soul
deserves a scout.
The two continue to sit as the breathtaking view turns to night. At this point, the sun has set and the stars are creeping in. Beatrix and several other counselors are in a circle, concerned about the missing scouts. Brenda takes center, mapping out the locations for a search operation.
Right. Hopefully, they didn't go within a mile of the mountain. There have been bear sightings there all week.
If a bear got those sweet kids, I'll hunt it down myself. I've done it before. I'll do it again.
As they talk among themselves and marker all over the map, the gang appears, with Stacy's backpack in tow.
There you are! What happened? Where did you get that backpack?
Aubrey rushes ahead into the circle of counselors, then points at her peers.
They didn't go to the lake. They went to the mountain and fought a bear and found a ghost and climbed a mountain. They made me an accomplice against my will.
There's a long pause as the scouts look sheepish. Beatrix steps forward.
Well, it would be a bit dramatic to accuse anyone here.
It was her idea.
Okay, cool. Wrong pronoun and everything.
Beatrix's imposing form looms over Harper.
So you mean to tell me that you ignored orders from your counselor, walked multiple miles off campgrounds without approval, interacted with a dangerous wild animal, and climbed a mountain without supervision, all for a single ghost?
Harper struggles to make eye contact in terror.
Yes?
Beatrix stares her down for a long time until she bursts into a deep belly laugh. Everyone is bewildered.
I love it! The initiative, the sense of adventure. You fought a bear?
Yes, we did.
Spectacular. That kind of grit reminds me of myself back in my ghost finding days. That's the kind of heart a Soul Scout needs.
This notion brings Harper to the verge of tears. Beatrix begins to dig through her massive bag, pulling out a Girl Scout badge with a blue ghost on it.
I am delighted to reward you with your first spirit badge.
Harper's eyes light up as she takes the badge. She digs through her backpack and pulls out a big book titled Badges. She puts her very first spirit badge into the book.
Oh.
Beatrix puts her arm over Harper's shoulder.
Tell me all about it. What kind of spirit were we dealing with?
Well, the spirit was tethered to a backpack.
The two walk off as the counselors disperse, leaving the rest of the gang with a petrified Aubrey.
Huh. I guess it turned out to be an awesome day after all.
But she broke the rules.
Welcome to the Soul Scouts.
Danny and Iris laugh as we pan up, walking away, leaving Aubrey bewildered.
Wait, come back.
She rushes to keep up with them. We return to the cliffside from the beginning of the episode. Only in the dead of night now. As we look out on the wilderness and the camp, we see blue, green, and purple lights glitter across the forest. The end.
Our reading of the Soul Scouts. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the performance. Home Space would like to extend a special thank you to our narrator and sound operator, Eric Kraft. Thank you, Eric. Eric is also a brilliant playwright, and he wrote And Every Creeping Thing, which we will be performing at the end of January. Be sure to like Hold Space Theater Collective on Facebook to stay updated on that and all upcoming productions. Have a great evening and happy Halloween.